Hey guys, today I'm gonna do a new video on how you can self-host your S3 buckets, and what's different than basically using a service as AWS or Cloudflare R2 is basically that you own the data and you don't need to pay it. It's on your own terms. So everything is gonna be self-hosted because we love self-hosting. Hey guys, just before the video starts, I just want to tune in and say that we're gonna be hosting a live Q&A session on basically fully self-hosted Next.js, Supabase, and Coolify app, like I was showing in the previous videos of setup. We're gonna be doing it on November 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern. So tune in to not miss the live, where you can ask all your questions, and I'm gonna be answering those live with you guys. And I hope you enjoy this video. As you can see right now, I'm showing what happens to my database right now on Coolify. So we currently have a daily backup that is made to a different to basically an S3 bucket, and you could configure it to back up to your own personal storage, but also to R2 and AWS at the same time if you wanted. But for myself, I just need one redundancy since I still keep copies on the machine and everything, so it's really for safety sakes. So let me show you how you can host your own basically S3 buckets and not have to pay for cloud buckets. So first thing first, what I want to tell you guys is we're gonna be exposing ports to the network, and this is not safe if they're not protected. So from what I had made in the past and what I continue to do is each time I expose a new port on my network, I make sure to put it behind Cloudflare Zero Trust, which is completely free. And right now what we're gonna need to do is basically have a domain and create a subdomain for a specific service. So in my case, the S3 UI, which I'm going to show you later, we're going to put it behind the s3.tqc cfd whatever, and basically we need to bind it to a specific port on our local network, and this ensures that our network is protected from DDoS and things like that because it's all behind Cloudflare. So we're gonna need to bind the 9000 port to the subdomain of your choice. In my case, I'm gonna use the S3 domain. So the 9000 port is gonna be the UI port. And then again, we have the 9099, which is gonna be the S3 API, which you can call to basically do read and write operations. But this could be whatever you want, right? It doesn't need to be exactly what I put there, so you can choose whatever you want. And then once we've done that and that our interface is up, we're then going to be able to connect it to our S3 storage. As you can see right now, self-hosted my request backup, everything right there. Insert our access key and our secret key. So how do you get those? How do you run your self-hosted bucket manager? So we're going to be using the MinIO Docker container, basically. For myself, I'm going to be using the MinIO specifically made for Docker. I know that they have a Podman version, but I created a Docker Compose. I'm going to leave in the description right there so you can copy it. But basically, it's going to be like that. So you're going to have your Docker Compose file. You're going to have your services. So in our case, only one service that we're going to call S3 for my case. You can name it whatever you want. The image is going to be minio/minio latest, and the ports are going to be the 9000 to 9000 and 9099 to 9099 inside the container. But again, you could change those ports that are basically exposed to your external network. Then you're going to need to choose your root user and root password, which I suggest changing because the default is going to be MinIO admin. And basically, the really important part is where you put your volumes. So I suggest that if you want redundant storage, you basically create redundant volumes. So in my case, the storage block is basically an array of disks that are on RAID. And are basically back up to another server that I have, so there's no way I can lose this data because it's like in RAID 5, so it's very safe. And also there's this command which basically tells the MinIO server to serve on the public interface of your device, and basically tells the port to use inside of your app. And we put restart always in case there's failure. It's going to restart as itself. And what you're going to need to do is, once you've done that, you're just going to need to run sudo docker compose pub/d, and this is going to spin up the new instance. And basically, once you've done that, it's going to say created, activated, and everything. And it's going to basically bind to the configs you've made for Cloudflare Zero Trust. And basically what you're going to see is the MinIO console. Okay, so once you've seen the MinIO console, what you're going to see is just this. And what I suggest doing is basically just entering your stuff. So in my case, I've created very secure password because I know this is sensitive data. And as you can see, I already have some objects in my object browser. So I have 2 buckets. This one I'm not going to use, it's just because the Docker compose file is in it, so it detects it as a bucket. But as you can see, I already have 1 backup made in the MyBookquest DB backup. So you can see data, Coolify, backups, database, routine, and Supabase. So we can see the PG dump. So we can see that it works. And basically the access is set to private. And we can then upload and read-write operation in this bucket as we like. So once this interface is spin up, you're going to need to do a few things before you start your being able to connect it to your Coolify. So first thing you're going to need to do is basically create a new bucket if you don't have one. Second thing is get some access keys. So you got the access key right there. You cannot do anything with this access key. You need the secret key. So basically you're going to need to do create access key. And once you click create access key, it's going to create a pair of access key and secret key. So both of those you're going to need to go put them in the access key and secret key place. The name of your bucket is important because if the bucket doesn't exist on your server, it's not going to see it as a valid server. The endpoint is going to be https the API you set up for the binding of the API route. It's written as HTTP because the service hosted on the computer is basically done as HTTP, but Cloudflare proxies it as HTTPS, which is really nice also. It gives us another layer of security and an encryption. And basically once you've done that, it's pretty simple, right? You just click validate connection and make sure you have connection. As you can see, connection is working. So once you've got this pair, you can just create it, copy it, make sure to save it, because if you don't save it, you're not going to be able to see it again. You can still create new ones, but you're not going to be able to create it again. Another thing that's really important is going into identity, click on users, and basically create a user. So click a username, a password, and basically you can select whatever policies you want. For my users, I selected read only, because so write only, just because we don't need to read basically what the bucket has in it. We just need to push the dumps in it and never look back. So this is pretty simple. Just there's so many other things you can do, but for the basis of what we need to do is very simple setup. So once you've got your validated connection, just go to your server. So go to your project, sorry. Then after that, you're going to go to your Supabase instance. Go to the bottom and click on backups, just like that. And once you click on backups, you can add a backup schedule. So in my case, I changed the S3 storage source, which you can basically change. But like I said, you could basically add a new scheduled backup frequency and do it on a second S3 backup source, or you have like 3 redundant sources. So it's really a simple process, and I think it's really where you can basically manage your data, especially if you have like a residential network and you don't have like fast like cloud throughput, but your data doesn't need to be fastly given to a client. So in my case, it's more than that. So like my network has a higher ping than what Cloudflare R2 could possibly give. But the difference is that I don't need to access this data frequently, because this is only backups in case something goes wrong. So in my case, it's not really worthwhile to do it on Cloudflare R2 and pay monthly for that storage. I prefer hosting it on my device and manage my own backups. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to tell me in the description what's your favorite way. Would you use Cloudflare R2, AWS, or would you use self-hosted? Tell me guys, I'm curious to know. See you guys in the next one.